Hello and welcome back after a brief hiatus here at the ODShack.com. My name is Ethan Frank, and today, as always, when we're talking about the NBA, I'm joined by the one and only Aaron Notice. Aaron, how are you on this lovely Monday afternoon into evening?
I'm great. The OD Shack's back. Basketball's back. It feels great to be here.
Yes, today on the Shack Podcast Network, we're going to do a little NBA bubble update, talking about all things going on inside ESPN's wide world of sports down in Orlando, Florida, the coronavirus capital of the world. So we'll be touching on some serious things, I would say some goofy things, and everything in between going on down with the NBA in Orlando. So, Aaron, I say we start by talking about. So let's just set the scene. Over a 3-day period last week, teams arrived in Orlando. I believe it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They arrived July 7th through 9th. They quarantined for 2 days and had to pass a round of testing. The numbers about that just came out. And out of, I think it was 322 people who were tested, only 2 tested positive. And those 2 who tested positive left the bubble and went to quarantine and recover in isolation. So everything seems to be going smoothly so far in the bubble. But there are some notable players who either arrived late or have not even arrived to the bubble yet. And the most notable was Kawhi Leonard, who showed up, I believe, on Sunday night because he was dealing with some family matters. He did not travel with the Clippers. We had the 2 Houston Rockets stars, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Westbrook, we just found out today, has a positive COVID test, and Harden, we still do not know what happens. And I was listening to something today talking about how the NBA is trying to market itself and with its betting and gambling partners, but how can you gamble on this kind of stuff if you don't even know who's going to be playing? And I think that's a really interesting question, Aaron.
I was actually discussing that today. It's the same thing with baseball. If you're going to bet on baseball this season, but what happens when like Mike Trout gets coronavirus, but you bet on the Angels on Tuesday? But what happened? Like, God forbid that happens. But let's say that Kawhi can't play tomorrow because he decided to get his Uber Eats and cross the campus line, and
Rashawn
Rashawn
Holmes-esque.
Holmes, and you bet on the Clippers. It's so hard to bet in the modern age with
Yes.
this whole like thing. And the content, unrelated, but the content we got in those 2 days, everyone was quarantining. Fantastic. Fantastic stuff.
Speaking of gambling, I know we have a mutual friend who claims he does not have a gambling addiction, but
Claims.
he says if you're winning, it's not an addiction. So you can take that or leave that, folks. But I think we know what the correct answer is, and that it is an addiction even if you are winning. So I mean, it can be enjoyable, but does not mean it's not.
It's
an
just going to
addiction.
be easier to lose with the coronavirus in the NBA bubble.
That
So,
is
like, he's
correct.
winning right now because his bets are really easy, but then he's going to go and try and bet on the NBA bubble.
So
Everything.
a positive test, you get someone reports a positive test an hour before the game. Like it's just so hard to even fathom even placing a bet like that where you could be risking money over something that already wasn't in your hands, but now things are even more far-fetched.
Exactly.
All right, so we talked about Harden, Westbrook. Bam Adebayo, another All-Star, has not entered the bubble yet. We do not know why. Nikola Jokic, who was back in Serbia during this whole thing, boy, would I love to be in Europe right now. I mean, things over there are so much better than the
It's
United
clean.
States.
It is clean in Europe. Jokic, I believe over the weekend it was reported that he is making his way to the United States as we are speaking. But again, up in the air. How long is it going to be until he's in Disney? I don't know.
Right. And then we had the news today of 2 players who have to do another 10 days of quarantine. Bruno Caboclo and Rashawn Holmes, both one incidentally, one probably not incidentally in the case of Rashawn Holmes, crossed the NBA bubble line, and they must quarantine for 10 days.
So I didn't really understand the Bruno Caboclo one. They say he inadvertently broke quarantine, which could basically mean anything. He could have just left his room in the middle of the night to get water or something, and it just inadvertently broke quarantine. But Rashawn Holmes is kind of dumb.
Yeah. Oh,
I get
Rashawn
it.
Holmes.
The food.
Rashawn Holmes went to pick up food he delivered outside of the bubble, or
Look,
food he ordered.
the Kings are staying at the Yacht Club. Fantastic hotel. The food, as we've seen pictures, Pelicans, JJ Redick shared pictures. I believe Troy Daniels has also shared pictures.
Okay.
I also listened to the
Everyone
Redick
has shared
podcast.
pictures.
It's not good. Like it's not like.
Hey, that's just that's just the presentation. You don't know what it tastes like.
All right, presentation can tell a whole story. Always judge the book by its cover, and
I think you might say it's the opposite.
Yeah, but he just wanted some food, man. He just wanted some outside food. I get it, but like, don't break quarantine for some food. You're getting paid, or at least trying to. I don't know if there's a contract thing that like now he doesn't get paid, but this is dumb.
Yeah, not a very smart decision on Rashawn Holmes' part. But yes, speaking of food, we have seen lots of pictures of food. We've seen it from players. We've seen it from media members. And it seems like the media members are being much more gracious than the players are. Media members, so it's a little different. I believe they have to quarantine for 7 days upon arrival to the bubble. Players and coaches only had to quarantine for 2. I think some other safety protocols are that during practice, coaches have to wear a mask, players do not. So everything's kind of flipping around all over the place. Things don't really seem to add up where if you're going to be bodying each other in practice, but then you have to wear a mask if you're around each other, not at practice. Doesn't really seem to make much sense, but you never know.
I don't really understand that. It's the same thing again with baseball, where it's like some players are choosing to wear masks, some people aren't. But the NBA, it doesn't look like any players are really wearing masks. I saw LeBron was wearing one in the practice facility back in LA. I don't think I've seen, of all the footage the NBA has shared on their Instagram feed, I don't think a single player is wearing a mask. So it's like
I saw the Thunder when CP3, SGA, and Darius Bazley were playing cornhole. They were wearing masks.
Correction. In practice, I haven't seen a single player wear a mask.
Yep, that's correct.
But especially when you think of CP3, SGA, and Darius Bazley, shout out for only packing 2 pairs of shoes. They are bodying, like CP3 and SGA are deliberately like the same position. They're bodying each other in practice.
Right.
But then they got to wear masks around each other. If you're living together,
it doesn't really make sense. I mean, there are some things that just kind of befuddle you, right?
I mean, you kind of just got to do it because it's your job. But at the same time, if I'm bodying you in practice, I already have anything you have. I'm not a doctor, but it seems like hands off.
Exactly. So
I think a mask. You should always wear a mask out in public. So I commend them on that, and it's setting a good example when these videos are going out on Instagram or whatever. You see a video of Chris Paul, your favorite basketball player, or I don't know if anyone's favorite basketball player is Darius Bazley, but anyone who hates Syracuse basketball, Darius Bazley.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out Darius Bazley for ditching the Qs.
Yeah, New Balance proud, and you see your favorite players wearing their masks while hanging out with their friends. It's a really good thing to do as a role model. So I really do. I'm proud of the NBA for that. That's something I'm genuinely enjoy seeing.
Yeah. I think one thing that can come out of this, though, also that I've heard is just how much unintentional tampering will be going on because players of other teams hanging out, like eating meals together, all that kind of stuff, playing games. So on that, what do you think of that, Aaron?
I think there's going to be fat tampering. Teams who are in – so an ESPN special, like a video, told me that the hotels are by rank. So where they think – how far they think you're going to make it into the playoffs based on your record, whatever. But it's the Grand Destino Tower is the top one, and then it's the Grand Floridian and then the Yacht Club, right? I think the Grand Floridian is going to be the most tempering out of all the hotels.
Why do you think that?
Because the Grand Floridian, you're looking at the teams, the Thunder, the Sixers, the Rockets, Pacers, Mavericks, Nets, Grizzlies, Magic. Aside from, I'd say, the Grizzlies and Magic, the other teams are all perennial. Like they have a very good shot at winning the championship next year if they get one more piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I think within that hotel,
I think we know you're just talking about the Nets.
No,
I think we know you're just talking about the Nets.
I don't think the Nets are necessarily one piece away, but I think the Thunder are a piece or two away. The Sixers need to do a little bit of reworking on the roster. Yeah. The Rockets need to, I don't know, either figure out their roster or figure out a game plan.
The Rockets will need a new coach because I don't think D'Antoni's going to be getting a new contract from
I don't think he wants to coach in the in the quarantine NBA anyway. But the Pacers need to rework the roster a little bit. The Mavericks need another young piece around Kristaps and Luka. The Nets need a power. The Nets need a power forward? Question mark. The Nets need to figure that out as well. And I think there's just going to be a lot of tampering within that hotel. Also, this is unrelated, but at each hotel there is a DJ, and they have the DJ play every night, and the only player to show up. This to me was like, all right, there's going to be a lot of tampering with the DJ, right? Everyone's going to show up. They're going to have a good time. The only player to show up to any of the hotels and their DJ was Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was chilling with the DJ. There was absolutely no tampering going on in the Grand Destino Tower as Dwight Howard was there with the DJ.
Yes, Dwight Howard enjoying his time with the DJ. I think it was Anthony Davis who said he asked Dwight about how the DJ was, and Dwight said he was the only one there. And it's also interesting to see these players do their press conferences on Zoom. They just sit in front of a big monitor and answer questions, which is kind of cool also. But I'm coming up with a little game on the spot here. And so we mentioned cornhole. So we've seen pictures of a lot of activities that are going on in the bubble. Let me list them. So we got cornhole, pool, fishing, golf. What else? We got ping pong, cards. What would your top 3 of activities in the bubble be?
At Disney World?
From what the NBA players are allowed to do that I just mentioned.
Are they allowed to go mini golfing? That seems so unclear to me. I know they're allowed to go actual golfing. The Disney World mini golf course is pristine. I think I want to see a Taco vs. Zion mini golf match. I would pay to watch. I would like it on pay-per-view. I think it would be a fantastic thing. So my number one thing would be mini golf. Then I would go fishing. I think fishing is fun. I think that would be a good time. And then number 3, I'd probably play some pool, maybe some cornhole. Maybe I'd go JJ and Myers Leonard, shotgun a few beers.
Exactly. I was gonna mention that a bit later. No, my number 1 would be I would love to get some rounds of golf in. I've been playing a lot of golf lately. I would love to play some ping pong. I think ping pong would be good. I like your mini golf idea. I can't say I'm a big fishing fan. I feel like fishing is more like just a vibe thing, where you're just hanging out more than is like
Exactly.
not like action that similar to ping pong.
It's perfect team bonding, especially on the nets when you need like name tags for everyone. Like
speaking of fishing, how about Ben Simmons catching a fish and then not being able to throw it back in the water?
That was fantastic. He can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. It's perfect.
Yeah, and so why don't we get to the shotgun thing? So I believe it was JJ Redick who took a picture of a beer he had while playing golf next to a water fountain that was unavailable, saying he brought his own drink, but that they were stopped on the 14th hole due to weather, and that if his tweet got 10,000 retweets, he would shotgun a beer, which he then did during an ice bath. So then Myers Leonard went and topped him and did it very impressively, I must say.
I mean, however these guys want to entertain themselves, I personally think JJ should have done it on the course. I see Steph Curry's also not in the bubble. He's golfing a lot. Go Steph. But I think getting these NBA players, I think a lot of tampering is going to happen on the golf course. A lot of beer shotgunning and a lot of tampering.
When does MJ get into the bubble so he can play some golf with these guys?
Oh my God. Get an MJ and Bron golf match in. Stream it on ESPN. You know you've got money there. But no, I can't wait to see who's next in the shotgunning beers battle. My money is on Hassan Whiteside, but just for who's next.
From what I remember the offensive linemen in the NFL were the best. I remember David Bakhtiari chugging the beer sideline at a Bucs game. So you would think it would likely be a big guy that would be able to do it best. I would guess one of the Lopez brothers would be really good.
Lopez brothers is an interesting choice. If DeAndre Jordan was in the bubble, I'd pick DeAndre Jordan. But he is, not. My other choice was honestly Richaun Holmes. So he has a lot of time on his hands. So he'll start shotgunning beers. Joel's probably good. JoJo's probably good.
Yeah, I would think Joel would probably. Yeah. Oh, you know who? I gotta say, my man JR. My man JR is probably.
Bro, if that beer can's filled with Henny, done in half a second.
Exactly. So why don't we move on and talk about something a little more on the serious side? We talked about food and pictures of food. Now let's talk about names and phrases going on the back of players' jerseys. So, Aaron, do you want to explain that whole concept?
Players wanted to replace their name on the back of their jersey. So if I am LeBron James, it says James 23. They wanted to replace it with a message for social, to push social platforms, whether it be Black Lives Matter, equality, say her name, etc. I remember Spencer Dinwiddie wanted trillion to say $26 trillion of debt. Doesn't even matter. He's not in the bubble. But we have players like Giannis, I believe, is doing a message. I forget which message he's doing.
I think he's doing equality.
Equality. I know Kyle Korver is doing Black Lives Matter. There was a list of players that are actually doing them.
I think so. What LeBron decided that he's going to be sticking with his last name because the NBA came up with a list. It's not a free for all. LeBron said he had a few ideas of what he would have done in his mind, but none of them matched what the NBA came up with, and he was not consulted. So he decided just to go with his last name. And I don't think that's something that should be punished if you're not choosing your last name.
So I think, there's like two sides of this coin. Yes, players should be able to choose whatever they want to put on the back of their jersey if they're trying, because that's totally like they're all doing it for the right causes. So I will never complain with these players wanting to put something other than their name on the back of their jersey. But the NBA constricting, like confining what they can say, it's not the best look for the NBA, but you also have to realize it costs a lot of money to change.
It's the money.
They probably have like 400 LeBron James jerseys in the Lakers facility right now of every color. And you're just going to say, we can't use these. We have to change it to vote or Black Lives Matter. Like that's a lot of money from the NBA. That's a lot of money from Nike. So it didn't make sense to like have different messages economically. It does confine the players, and that's a little unfair. But at the same time, the NBA lost a lot of money for this whole pandemic. A lot of people are losing their jobs. So it makes sense that they're not having a free-for-all with whatever you want to put.
Exactly, and that makes 100% and total sense. And I think it's a great way to spread the word because people do need to go out and vote because there is someone in the White House who is not doing a very good job of what he's supposed to be doing and getting these messages and trying to put forth your agenda and what you believe is right is something that should be supported and is something that everyone should be doing and everyone should be fighting against these social injustices and everything that's going on in the country right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing, honestly, I forget who, someone was saying that basketball is a distraction. It's probably Kyrie. I'm going to go with Kyrie. Kyrie said that basketball is a distraction from the main task at hand. Steven Jackson probably said the same thing. Steven Jackson's a little crazy. But Kyrie was like, basketball is a distraction from the main task at hand. But you can use basketball to higher up your social platform, to push it further. You are getting so many eyes. You have such a big voice as an NBA player, not only an NBA player, but Kyrie Irving, you're a star. You have such a big voice, and you can reach so many people. He was just on a Breonna Taylor say her name special the other day, and you have such a big platform to reach a lot of people. And putting equality on the back of your jersey, like Giannis equality jerseys should be sold, and they should be donated to charity. And I think it would be smart. Like profits should be half to the NBA and Nike and half to charity. It would be so smart on everyone's part because they have such a big platform to do something here, and they have such a big voice. And the players, this is a league, God bless, it's not baseball. That basketball and football have such a big voice to do something like this.
Yeah, baseball. Baseball. I think that's a great way to put it. So why don't we move on to our last few things on our little list here, and just Boban and my man Luka just having all sorts of fun trick shots at practice, DJing from the balcony of their hotel rooms. It just seems like they're having a ball in Orlando.
Yeah, I mean the Mavericks in general look like they're having a great time. Also, Bobby and Toby reunion didn't go as I wanted it to, but they are my favorite duo in the NBA, and I do love it. And the Mavericks also, during their quarantine, Maximilian Kleber, he set up a fake little DJ booth outside his window. He had all the Mavericks on his little row, and he was bumping some EDM, and he got all the Mavericks going nuts. He's playing with the turnstiles. He's like,
That's
You get
funny.
Luca in the back.
Better
He's just going.
than the DJ Dwight saw.
He's probably just as good as the DJ Dwight saw. I mean, all he did was set up a few paper cups and started playing EDM. I don't know what DJs do. I think they just have to switch songs and sometimes make a few noises. I don't really know. Sorry for underselling the DJ job. Like, they probably do things.
Aaron taking shots at DJs. DJs do not come after Aaron. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I probably don't. I couldn't DJ. I don't have the tech skills.
Aaron has other musical talents that we'll talk about at a later date. So why don't we move on to injuries? I see that news came out last night that Rajon Rondo broke his thumb in practice and is going to have surgery and is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So my big question is, with everything that's going on in Florida and the number of coronavirus cases there, which is topped 15,000 in a single day on Saturday, how can he get surgery when these hospitals' primary and necessary focus should be on fighting COVID-19?
Yeah, it's not even just that. I think there's the problem that, like, Disney World's open.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom open this weekend. There's so much coming in and out of Disney World. My best guess, I think they're gonna have to fly Rajon to either back to California or to New York, somewhere out of the state, just somewhere to a different state. It doesn't have to be LA or New York, but just somewhere with less COVID cases, so that he could get a good surgery without having to worry about the whole Corona thing. And it's just Florida's a mess right now. Yeah. And even like I don't think Disney should have been like, yeah, we'll open the parks if the MLS and the NBA are both there. It doesn't seem like it seems a tiny bit.
Disney's just trying to make back all the money they lost right now.
I mean, and Disney Plus is making them enough money. I don't need to hear this. They just have a constant flow of cash.
Yeah. So things are looking bleak in Florida. Who knows what's going to, I mean, we saw, you can see in the basketball tournament, the TBT that been going on in Columbus for the last week, that the bubble does work, but that's with a significantly less number of players, media. There's no media there. Significantly less number of players, coaches, training staffs, all these people. And that was just going from hotel to arena. That's it. There's nothing else. You were stuck in your room.
Where's the TBT again?
It was in Columbus.
Columbus, Ohio?
Yes.
Interesting place to put the TBT. Is Boeheim's Army still in?
No, Boeheim's Army lost. They lost to the team that actually ended up beating ISO Joe Johnson's team. I know you're.
They beat ISO Joe?
Yeah.
Shout out Will Raymond, Colgate Raider, Boeheim's Army.
Yeah, our boys combined forces to go advance to the Elite Eight, but unfortunately lost. But off that, they actually did a successful job. Cases kept getting lower and lower until they got to 0. Only one team had to be eliminated during the tournament because of a single positive test on that team. So that was it. They were much stricter about their COVID restrictions. If one player on your team was tested positive, you're automatically disqualified. The NBA, I think, will be much more lenient because they think the bubble can work. Just the key is when teams leave and family members come in is going to be the key, I think. But as of right now, they're doing okay as long as things don't spread to them from throughout Disney World or through the MLS, which has had its share of problems of its own. 2 teams backing out, games having to be postponed. I think the NBA should be okay.
I personally think this is working really well. I listen to the JJ Redick podcast. Mark Tatum seems to have everything under control in Orlando. It's providing so much entertainment. It just looks so clean. I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
I really want to see some golf matches streamed for money. I want to see mini golf matches streamed for money. Taco versus Zion. If you're watching this, please.
What happened to Taco on Space Mountain? Seems like can't happen anymore because Disney World is open.
Because Magic Kingdom's open and he'd get Corona the moment he walks into Magic Kingdom. But I mean, Taco versus Zion in anything would be pretty good. And so we've got Taco versus Zion, and then golf matches and fishing matches.
All right, Bassmaster Simmons versus Bassmaster Paul George. Who will take the throne? All right, that's going to do it for another great edition of the Shack Podcast Network, an NBA bubble update for you on this Monday afternoon. We will see you next time, hopefully after maybe some scrimmages or games are played, and make sure to check out all the new content going up at theodshack.com, as there will be some new stuff going up. I know there's a boxing article going up by our friend Jake Mazarski today. Maybe something will be going up by yours truly about a potential Mets sale and a group of athletes that have joined J-Rod in their bid to purchase the Mets as they go up against Thanos and hedge fund titan Steve Cohen. So that's going to do it. We'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening.
Stay safe, everyone.